You know, when you think about the last thing you bought online, chances are, at some point, it crossed an ocean on a giant ship. It's this massive, almost invisible network that is, quite literally, the lifeblood of our global economy. But right now, that whole network is being threatened by forces you just can't see on any map. And folks, it's reached a critical tipping point. So let's break down what's really happening. For centuries, right, shipping risks were things you could actually chart. Storms, dangerous reefs, maybe even pirates in certain waters. But what happens when the biggest threats are political decisions made thousands of miles away? Or sanctions? Or maybe even just a line of code? Well, that's the new reality we're diving into. To really get our heads around this, we're going to follow three incredibly powerful currents. First, the pretty startling rise of new kinds of conflict at sea. Then, we'll look at a technological revolution that's both brilliant and, well, really disruptive. And finally, we'll see how it all adds up to the escalating economic price of all this uncertainty. Okay, so our first stop is these new maritime battlegrounds. We're literally seeing global political tensions spill out of the halls of power and onto the open ocean. This is creating real physical conflict zones where, the old rules, they just don't apply anymore. And what's wild is that we're seeing two very different kinds of conflict playing out. On the one hand, you've got the familiar stuff, a state navy with all its power enforcing official sanctions. But on the other hand, you've got a far more unpredictable threat, cheap, super effective sea drones launched by smaller players that can literally disable a massive tanker. I mean, this is the new face of maritime warfare. It's asymmetric and it's incredibly hard to defend against. And you have to understand, every single one of these incidents, whether it's a drone strike or a vessel seizure, sends immediate shockwaves through the entire industry. All of a sudden, insurance premiums for war risk go through the roof. Captains are forced into these costly, time-consuming detours, and shipping companies, they now have to treat sanctions compliance not as some footnote, but as a core, high-stakes part of their day-to-day operations. All right, let's shift gears and look at the second major force at play here: technology. There's this massive push towards automation happening, but at the exact same time, there's an urgent demand for sustainability. These two revolutions are unfolding simultaneously, and as we're about to see, they don't always pull in the same direction.
So, what are we even talking about with autonomous navigation? Look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept anymore. It's happening right now. We're talking about sophisticated AI and incredibly advanced sensors taking the helm of massive vessels, turning what was once just a theory into actual operational reality.
And if you want to see just how real this is, just look at Japan. They've just certified their first autonomous passenger ferry. Think about that. This one ship is a complete game changer. It is forcing everyone from insurers to port authorities to completely rewrite their playbooks for safety, for liability, even for something as basic as scheduling.
Meanwhile, that green revolution is gaining serious momentum. Take India, which is rolling out this brilliant two-step strategy. First, they're launching their own hydrogen fuel cell vessel, a huge leap for clean energy. And at the same time, they're ordering a whole fleet of all-electric tugboats. This isn't some gradual shift, it's a decisive, strategic pivot toward decarbonization.
So you might be asking, why make these expensive bets on brand new technology? Well, because the payoff is huge. Operators who invest now get this incredible strategic edge. They look great from an environmental and social standpoint, which matters more and more. They stand to save a fortune on fuel in the long run, and they're already getting ahead of the stricter global emissions rules we all know are coming.
Okay, so we've got new conflicts, we've got new technologies. Now let's connect the dots and look at our third and final current, how all of this stuff translates directly into dollars and cents. What is the real rising price of risk today?
This quote really says it all. Contingency planning and risk-aware scheduling are now core requirements, not optional extras. It means having a plan B isn't just a good idea anymore. It's the bare minimum for survival. The goal isn't just the shortest route, it's the safest and most compliant one. And that route can literally change by the hour.
And this really breaks down the new playbook perfectly. The threat of sanctions? That forces you into a constant state of enhanced compliance. The risk of a drone strike out of nowhere? That means you need the ability to reroute your entire fleet on a moment's notice. And just that pervasive tension that's now the backdrop to all of shipping, that requires active 24/7 risk monitoring. It is a completely new way of operating a business.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? How do you even begin to navigate this incredibly complex new world? Let's bring it all together.
It really all boils down to 3 new realities. Number 1, shipping routes are no longer fixed, they're in constant flux to avoid geopolitical hotspots. 2, the old set-it-and-forget-it model is totally dead. Active, real-time risk monitoring is now non-negotiable. And 3, that green transition, it's not just about the environment anymore. It's a critical strategic move just to stay in the game.
But ultimately, it all comes down to this one crucial point. In this new era, data isn't just an advantage, it's a lifeline. Having real-time intelligence on sanctions, on security, on technology, that's now the fundamental difference between staying afloat and going under.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As we sail into this new world of AI-driven ships and drone-patrolled seas, has real-time data become the only compass that truly matters anymore?